So we are going to be continuing to look at a scenario where civilization starts over. We are on episode 13 of this, 13 or 14. We are on episode 14. And in the last episode, we saw a couple of events happen, like a big war inside of China, which led to this blue team right here getting reduced down to this little tiny country. And why the heck is this country here? What I was going to say is that teal country got invaded, but I guess it came back just to die again. And we also saw a mass exploration throughout all of Europe and Africa, where we could see some new countries appear very soon. If you guys are enjoying this series, please make sure to like and subscribe and show support on this video. It helps out a ton, and, well, stop the yapping. Let's get into this video. So in the last episode, at the very end, there was a war that started between Iberia and Genoa, I guess, or Corsica. And the Iberians are going to very quickly steamroll through the Corsican mainland areas. And very quickly, these areas are going to fall over to Iberian control. But they also made a landing inside of Sardinia, where they get almost about, 75% through before they are stopped by some Corsican forces. And there is one big problem, and that is the Italian countries don't really want Iberia expanding into Italy. If we look at the religion map, and yes, I updated this purple religion right here is like an ethnic Italian religion. We have a Venice religion, this pink team religion, and then the rest is a Roman religion. If we go ahead and look, the Iberians have expanded into the purple religion, and they're doing so even more by expanding into the Corsican mainland areas. So a lot of the people in these areas are not happy, mainly the people inside of Bavaria. Although a lot of these areas are German, the ethnic majority is Italian. So in this area right here, we start to see some revolts pop up, and very quickly we start to see these little groups start to spread, and there is a full-blown rebellion inside of this Italian region of Iberia. Some troops get caught up against the border of Bavaria, and the Italian Bavarians are they're gonna get slaughtered. A campaign starts to go down and connect up with this Genoa area, as we see the Italians start to liberate these areas, eventually cutting the areas in two. And now we see the pink team right here join in on this war on their very own side, because they have a little bit of disputed land right here with Corsica. As you can see, this part is a part of their pink religion, and really it's a part of Genoa. So really they're just entering this war to take that piece, while the Iberians inside of this area continue to get slaughtered by forces of Genoa and Italia. Over in Sardinia, Corsican troops are going to push back against Iberian troops. This campaign is really successful because of a really good military general that lives inside of Corsica. His name is Al-Maxfe, and he is really popular at this point. He might be able to run for a military dictatorship inside of Corsica, but for now, he's just a general, as the Iberians are almost pushed fully out of Corsica. In even worse news for Iberia, Morocco is going to start a rebellious campaign. Morocco has been neglected by Iberia for a very long time, where the only areas Iberia really focuses on is this Gibraltar Strait area. Morocco will declare independence and start an invasion into just taking over the rest of Morocco, where really the only troops are stationed over in Gibraltar. So it's going to be fairly easy to be able to capture the rest of Morocco, but once they do, they're not going to be able to push into Gibraltar. In fact, we even see these troops start to push out into Moroccan territory. At this point in the war, there's going to be a big stalemate between all of the sides, and we can go look at other stuff. Like a war starting over here with the pink lavender team invading into the lime team. If you remember when these guys got independence, the lavender team, they were pretty aggressive. And now their population has kind of really grown a lot. And they need some more resources, so why not invade pretty much your weakest neighbor? That's not all, as Sudan is going to get in on this war as well as this maroon team right here. W voice crack. Sudan is definitely the strongest out of these four, and they're going to very quickly take the capital city of the lime team. But the thing is, there's no really people over here, so the maroon team is going to have a very easy job at invading into this area. And we're actually able to see the maroon team make it over to the ocean. And we can look at a peace treaty between these three powers. Inside of a peace treaty, we see the Lavender team, they're going to go ahead and take this piece of land along the coast. The Maroon team is going to take a big chunk of land, even connecting up with the Red Sea. And then Sudan is going to take a few little provinces, and that is because they feel pity on the Lime team. They did invade them, but they could have taken all of this land, turning it into that. But instead, they're going to keep the Lime team around and maybe adopt them as an ally or a puppet state in the future, who knows. Moving up over here, we actually do start to see Bavaria expand again, in which they expand into these areas here. Over in this Moldovan country, we actually also start to see them expand down into this area. But the thing is, they're biting off a little bit too much than they can chew. So we just start to see them mass expand into these areas. But they're kind of left a little unstable from this because the people didn't really want to expand. So we end up seeing a rebellion pop up in these recently annexed areas. And if you're wondering how these areas are able to, I guess, pop up in rebellion so quickly after being annexed, well, that is because the leader of this country forced a lot of their people to move down into this area, which was pretty stupid. But very quickly, this orange team is going to move up and actually capture the capital city of Moldova. And eventually, the whole entire country of Moldova is just going to capitulate over, leading to the creation of the Romanian state, where they'll put their capital city right here. Moving back over here, the Iberians are going to go ahead and put a new force down into Genoa, and this will also lead to them pushing back against this rebellion up here. Although they are fully kicked out of Sardinia, they're having successes up over inside of Italy, wiping out a whole one of these. And this rebellion is being pushed back further and further. Eventually, this territory is integrated back into Iberia, and this rebellion is losing ground really quickly as they are pushed back to their last little exclave. The last little fighting is going to take place over inside of this rebellion before they are completely wiped off the map. The Ukrainians are going to start to expand once again, and we see the Ukrainians expand up north quite a bit, and we also see them expand into Caucasia. They wanted to expand over eastward, but this Moldovan team is kind of blocking them, and they're a kind of ally. But if we also move up over to the, the Germanic Russian state, we're also going to start to see them expand. As we see them expand into these areas and connecting up a border with Ukraine, even though these two don't really like each other. Speaking of expansion, the Libyan team is going to start to expand a bunch into this area. And we're going to see them expand into these areas here, making their country gigantic. But there is one more thing that they want, and if you remember, I think it was like 3 episodes ago, the red team expanded into these areas here. Well, the Libyans, they're going to be like, you know what, we want this land, so either you give it to us or you're going to be invaded. And for reference, let's actually go ahead and do power rankings real quick. So the strongest country in the world is still Iberia, followed by the Greeks. In third place is the Libyans. In fourth place is the Anatolians. In fifth place is the Egyptians, so pretty high up there. We then have the Benelux country. Then number 7 is Ukraine. Number 8 is England. Number 9 is Rome. And number 10 is Sweden. So I guess it's not a huge gap between these two, but in a war, because the yellow team is going to join, if the purple team gets in on a war, the red team is probably going to lose. So what they're going to do is they're just going to give this land over to the purple team. So we see the Egyptians going back to their original border, and the purple team is really big. But the red team, they're pretty petty and spiteful about this. So what they're going to do is they're going to show off their strength to the Western African powers, and they're going to go ahead and start an invasion into what? For some reason, I didn't remember what the Sinai area was called, but they're going to start an invasion into Sinai. These guys are pretty dang weak, so we very quickly see a full-on invasion happen. All of their Arabian areas are taken, and we see a full collapse of the country and their capital city being taken. These guys get fully annexed by the Egyptians, and this worries the Western African powers, but they're not really going to do anything about it. The purple team got what they wanted out of the red team, so they feel like it's fair that they invaded this country. The green team is freaking out, though. A secret invasion force was sent over to Corsica, and this force is going to instantly just wipe out the Corsicans. Like, this was a really, really quick invasion. They landed at this point right here, and they kind of just split up, and the famed military general is down over in Sardinia. So he wasn't able to protect the capital city right here. And after another crossing over into the north of Sardinia and a landing made in the south, it is very quickly going to end very badly for the famed military general, who dies in battle as a show of strength to the Corsican country. And the Iberian-Corsic War has just ended. Over in Morocco, the rebellion is almost pushing them completely out of Africa. So what Iberia is going to do, they're going to go ahead and accept the loss over inside of Africa. They weren't even really using this land. They're going to give Morocco independence, and what they're going to do is they're going to just focus on Europe. So we can now look at a peace treaty. Starting off over inside of Morocco, the Moroccan country is given full independence, and the Iberians gain a little bit more land, but really they just hold on to Gibraltar. The Corsican, whoa, I just had like a spasm. I don't even know what just happened. But the Corsican country is going to pretty much be divided between the pink team and Iberia. The pink team gets this one tiny province right there. That's a part of their religion. And the rest is going to go over to Iberia. The Iberians now dominate the western part of the Mediterranean. And a pretty scary superpower is now unleashed now that they dominate all of the western Mediterranean. A lot of countries are not happy about the expansionism and the imperialism of Iberia. And some countries could start putting their foot down. But now we need to move up over to the Baltic, as this island is finally going to start, it's finally going to get imperialized. This island is going to get split between Sweden and Lithuania. I don't know why it took me so long to fill in that island, but yay, it's filled in. You know what we should do? We should fill in the rest of this area of Eastern Europe. That's right, Europe is finally going to get filled in this episode. So here is the first country we see, and this country is going to end up being Slovakia, or it is Slovakia. I don't know why I said end up. And their capital city will be right there. Next, we see a green nation pop up right here, and the rest of this land is pretty much going to go over to Bavaria, except for a little piece that goes over to Adriatica. This new orange Romanian country is going to start to expand, and they reach all the way over here. I guess they're not learning about what their Moldovan forefathers did. But this time it actually works because they're not really demanding their people to go over here. So they're going to hold on for now, but who knows how long this could last. I'm going to go ahead and expand Slovakia. Bavaria is yet again going to gain some land. Next, we got a purplish country. And with the rest of the land right here, it's going to be unified underneath one country. And they're going to see how that goes. So we go ahead and see all of this land right here kind of unify underneath one country. And we could go ahead and give all of these countries major cities. So here is all of our new countries in Europe, and I think this looks pretty good. I mean, if you look at it like this, I just put Ukraine on the map. We kind of have like 3 Ukraines. So we have this Ukraine, or Crimea. Moldova is technically their capital city is in Ukraine. And then this country right here, their capital is like halfway in Ukraine. But now we need to move up over to Finland because they also want some expansion. So they're going to go ahead and expand into Estonia like this. And that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. I know we didn't really focus in on Asia, India, or Arabia because I really want to do more with Arabia. So I guess what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do a quick overview of what's happened in Arabia this past little bit because we haven't really talked about it. First off, all of Arabia is now discovered and known of. This Yemen country has expanded a lot since its birth, where it now looks something like this. We actually see India having a little claim of, I guess, what is this, Oman? And there's also a United Arab, or I guess a United Arab Emirate, or a Arab Emirate country. In the next episode, expect more focus on Arabia, if I remember. Also expect focus on India, Persia, China, and maybe even America. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys later. This is going up on Black Friday, so have a good Black Friday. Hopefully you guys had a good Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.